Hey, welcome to another episode of Ask Samir. Today, I've got a question that comes in from Neely. And Neely wants to know, Hi Samir, I received my green card through marriage to a US citizen about 4 years ago. We are now divorced and I want to file for citizenship. When can I file? Do I have to wait 3 years or 5 years? Thanks, Neely. I will answer that question right after this. Hi, I'm Samir Kumar, and I'm an immigration lawyer. During these videos, I answer the questions you ask, and I answer the questions you should ask. Now, before we get started, here's something important you need to know. The information in these videos is not legal advice. Also, watching these videos does not make me your lawyer, and it does not make you my client. I recommend that you speak to a licensed immigration attorney about your case before doing anything. If you want to speak to me, no problem. I'll tell you how to do that in just a few minutes. All right, let's get started. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Ask Samir. Today, I'm answering a question that came in from Neely, and Neely wanted to know how long does she need to wait to file for citizenship. She received her green card through marriage to a US citizen, but is now divorced. It's been about 4 years since the marriage. So she wants to know whether she needs to wait 3 years or 5 years in order to file her citizenship. So let me first start by explaining what that means, 3 years versus 5 years. So basically, you are entitled to receive your citizenship if everything is good, like there's no criminal records and all that good stuff, typically either 3 or 5 years after you get your first green card. And I say your first green card because if you get your green card through marriage, you may have started out with a conditional green card. Okay. With that said, the people who get married to a US citizen and they receive their green card that way have to wait 3 years from the time they receive their green card, whether it's conditional or permanent. And if you receive your green card any other way, you have to wait 5 years in order to file for your citizenship. So in this case, Neely, what you're asking is, I received my conditional green card or my permanent green card, and it's been 4 years since I got married, and I've gotten divorced since then. How long do I need to wait? Do I base it off my marriage to a US citizen and wait 3 years, or do I have some other route to go and I have to wait 5 years? Well, the unfortunate answer is that you have to wait 5 years in this case. If you were still married to the US citizen who you got your green card through, then you could get your your citizenship in 3 years. But once you're divorced, then it shifts to 5 years. It doesn't prevent you from getting your citizenship. You simply have to wait a bit longer. So let's just say some people are at the cusp that they're about to get divorced or they're separated and it's been almost 3 years since they've been married. Well, they can file for their citizenship as long as they are married throughout the citizenship process. That means they get their citizenship before they're divorced because the basis for waiting 3 years is your marriage to a US citizen. If you don't have that basis, guess what? You're in the other category and you have to wait 5 years. Now, I know I mentioned conditional green card and permanent green card. That I've discussed in another video that you can check out. Or if you have a question about that, you can always reach out to me and I'll be happy to answer that. So, to simplify everything that I've just said, if you are divorced and you haven't filed for citizenship, you have to wait 5 years. Now, one thing I want to add. When I say file, the waiting period, now this might get a little confusing. The duration, if you're married to a US citizen, is 3 years that you have to wait. And if you are going through another route, it's 5 years. That's the period of time USCIS considers for your eligibility for citizenship. You can technically file the paperwork 2 years and 9 months after your marriage to a US citizen, or if you've gotten your green card through some other route, 4 years and 9 months. You can send in the paperwork. But the eligibility period that they look at is the 3 and 5 years respectively. So let me explain very quickly what that means. Let's just take the 5-year example, and the same numbers apply respectively to the 3-year, and I'll explain that in a second as well. In 5 years, you have to make sure that you haven't left the United States for over 6 months at a time, and you have to make sure that you were physically present on US soil for at least 2.5 out of those 5 years. For the 3-year period, you have to make sure that you were physically present on US soil for at least half that time, and that you also did not leave the United States for over 6 months. And I know I say this in every video, but if you go to Canada, that's leaving the US. You have to count that time outside of the US. If you are in a situation where you have left the United States for over 6 months and you want to see if you're eligible for citizenship, gotta talk to a lawyer. They gotta make sure that you have met the eligibility requirements. All right, Neely. So in this case, looks like you're gonna be waiting the 5 years, but again, talk to an immigration attorney. There may have been something in your question that you didn't include. There may be some caveat, but typically in this type of situation, if you've gotten divorced from your US citizen husband or your US citizen spouse, I should say, you do have to wait the 5 years instead of the 3 years to get your citizenship. Thank you, Neely, for your question, and thank you for checking out this episode of Ask Samir. All right, here's what you should do now. Speak to a licensed immigration lawyer about your case. If you'd like to speak with me, head over to kumarlaw.com and click on the button that says Talk to Samir. You and I will hop on the phone and you can ask me anything you want. No question is off limits. Thanks for checking out this episode of Ask Samir. For more videos or to ask me a question, head over to kumarlaw.com.